Hello everyone. If you've watched my live stream, you will know what this is about, but if you have not, check out my live stream of the worst NES games of all time. So I decided I'm trying to find out what the worst games ever are, and I decided to start with the classic Nintendo Entertainment System. I played about 20 games. Now, if I missed some bad ones that you think are bad enough to be on this list, let me know. Maybe I'll come back to this and play some other games on a live stream. But here's the ones I played. I am omitting one game, Cheetah 2, because that game was technically never released. And to say it's a worst game ever and never even actually be released isn't really fair. Because, like, that's not an official product that someone had to pay money for. Now, I also did add one game here, but I mentioned that in the live stream. Where is it? Karate Champ. I have played on an original NES because I own it, and it easily qualifies for one of the worst games ever. So we've got a couple tiers here. We've got a game that's actually good, which, hate to break it to you, is probably going to be empty. But I had it just in case one of these games was actually not that bad and people were lying about it being that bad. Seems to be okay is games that I thought weren't actually as bad as it seems because they were on some list for worst games. So if you think, oh, why'd you pick these games like Gilligan's Island or whatever, I have not played 90% of these games until my live stream, so I just checked some list and a lot of AVGN videos as well. Then you got bad for your typical bad games, dog shit for actually crap, and then worst games ever, where I think they would be considered the worst games no matter what console. So, this list is just every NES game. I had to add some of the unlicensed ones like Action 52, but it wasn't too bad. It's kind of annoying having to sift through all this. There's some other games I want to play, like some of these I put here because I think I wanted to review them, but like Home Alone I heard's pretty bad, but whatever. So let's start. Um, Gilligan's Island's the first one I want to talk about. I think it's one of the first ones I played. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, this game didn't seem to be that terrible. It had like decent graphics. It seemed like kind of like a little adventure thing. I didn't find any big bugs or annoying shit, and felt like it was fair to the show. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure why I saw a couple lists have this on there. Another one I kind of surprised by, Bible Adventures isn't that bad. Um, yeah, you can make fun of it for like, why would you want to play an unlicensed Bible game? But for what it's worth, if you're really bored and just want to pick up animals and put them in an ark, I guess that's fun. It's controls fine. Um, the gameplay does what it wants. It's just kind of boring, but like, if that's what you want to do, I guess it's fine. Let me get through some of these. Dick Tracy, while being really annoying in some ways and hard, it's kind of like done okay because it is a little annoying with the whole you can't shoot certain guys, but it's like I guess it's a detective thing. The driving is pretty ass, but like the actually I don't know. Should this be mediocre? Like it has some cool concepts, but it just is so annoying and it's pretty brutal. I'll probably move that around later. Um, oh, by the way, for Karate Champ, this game is really just a button masher where nothing makes sense and it's just absolute shit. This game is dog shit. I guess if you learn the controls, it would be a little bit more entertaining, but it's literally just the same thing over and over and over again. Like, oh, you fight the same guy with the sensei on the top with a new environment. I guess it's a little bit more entertaining if you want to play it with a friend, but it's not good. Karate Kid's basically the same game, but better because at least there's multiple versions of it. Like, there's not just fighting each other. There's also, what was I trying to say? So it's not just like fighting. There's also like the running stages, and there's a little bit more to it. Not saying it's good. So I think I got to put it a tier above it in just bad. I didn't really find anything like absolute horrible in it. Um, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Yeah, it lives up to the hype. It's pretty freaking bad. I mean, when I got to the one level, I was just walking forward and nothing hit me for some reason, and then the other level was just like I couldn't do anything. And playing as Hyde is more annoying than I thought it would be. Another game that really pissed me off more than I thought is Ghostbusters. I fucking hated playing this thing. It's so annoying to buy your shit, then you buy the traps, then oh, you sold it, and then you gotta drive to the place, and then you run out of gas. It's just like, were they purposely trying to make this game as unfun as possible? And then I catch one little ghost, and then oh, my trap's full. I gotta do it all over again. And all that just to go in the Zool building, which is like one of the most like the stupidest sections of the game, which I did go back and try to do that, where you just have to mash the button like a jackass and you can't even get past without cheats really. Oh my god, I hated this game. I guess it's better than Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and Karate Champ's probably worse too. But like, oh my god, this game pisses me off. Where's Waldo has to be worst games ever. I mean, what is the point of this game? You literally just find Waldo, and that's it. And like, yeah, you can say that with the books, but at least the books have like nice art, and there's actually some like skill to it. Like, oh wow, there's a lot of like, things going on as Waldo hidden. On an NES game, there are just jumbled pixels of like a mess. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's like even when you find Waldo, it's like that is that him? And what makes this worse is that once you find him, it's the same levels for the entire game. So this game has zero replay value. And you can say about the books too, but at least they're interesting to look at. And the books are like a lot of pages, so you could do it like hundreds of times. Where this is like what is it, like 6, 7 levels? And some of them aren't even like finding them. Like the cave, I don't even understand that level. It kept bugging out on me, but I got past it once. The fact that they can't even get the loading screen right, where Waldo just walks around like a jackass, and there's this one mini game where like the sewer pipes or whatever the hell it was just infuriatingly shitty. This game should never have been made. I cannot imagine actually paying money for this back in the day. Another one I didn't think that was that bad. Deadly Towers. It just seems like an old school roguelike game. The enemies were kind of weird and it seems a little hard. But if you like rogue games, I guess it'd be okay. Just like slowly getting up the tower because you keep your stuff. So it is like I thought it was gonna be like, oh, this game's unfair. Also, I think Dick Tracy might go to mediocre tier. Now that I'm thinking about how bullshit some of the stuff is. Like I'm trying to remember, like in the AVGN review, like you can't like you have to get the clues even if you know who it is, and then like the roof snipers become a bitch. But yeah. Um. This Uncanny X-Men game, holy crap, this game is bad. I tried playing. I realized I was on the practice mode, by the way, when I played it on the stream. But I did go back and play it. It's the actual levels aren't any better. You just punch around, and it's like you try to figure out what you're supposed to do, and like I couldn't figure it out. It was just like going back in circles in every map, and I even read the manual or whatever. It was like, oh, you have to do specific shit in every level. I'm like, fuck that. This game is horrible. Like I was shocked by how bad. This one's just as bad as the Ghostbusters. I'm like, wow, this is a licensed game. Like, what were they thinking? AVGN quote, of course. Um, I still say, out of all the games that pissed me off, I think Ghostbusters and maybe Where's Waldo for like, why does this game exist? But X-Men, yeah, I guess it's worse. Friday the 13th, typical bad LJN game. The fucking arcing rock. I was shocked at how bad the houses were to get around. I like the graphics, and I actually think the music is really solid. Like the do 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 do, you know, in the when you're on the ground is pretty nice, and then the spooky music in the house I think is also pretty good. I would say it's better than Karate Kid because at least there's like some merit to it. I don't know why there's zombies in the game, but yeah. Um, Jaws is also not horrific. It was just a little bit bland. Like, okay, you just go back and forth, slowly upgrading your ship and shooting fish. Um, yeah, there's really not much to it. I mean, wow, yeah, this game really doesn't have much to it. I mean, there's nothing like inherently wrong about it. It's just like this is it. This is the whole game. And I guess Friday the 13th has more to it. Friday the 13th is almost mediocre, but like those houses navigating was so ass. And yeah, the knife does help. But ugh. What else we got? Three Stooges. I did have to look this up. I kept saying like I wasn't sure if the game was released, but it does seem like it was. I might have been thinking about a different game in the AVGN episode where you reviewed this. Actually, let me Google it just to make sure. Alright, I triple checked just for the hell of it. Yes, this game did get released. It was a wishlist video AVGN did, so maybe it was another video where it was released. This game, honestly, they could have made it okay if they just fixed some of the stupid shit, like some of the minigames are just not fleshed out well enough. And then the fact that you can't pick which minigames you want to do is probably the worst part. Because in my freaking live stream, I kept getting the fucking pie one. I'm like, can I just see the other ones? And some of them aren't the worst, but it's just like a collection of shitty minigames. Not quite as bad as Action 52's, like, I guess, minigames, because these aren't even full games. But it was pretty mid. I think I might put it in mediocre, because, like, some of them were just like, no, wait, no. Because the running one, you just keep walking in and everything. The slapping one, you're just mashing button. Okay. Now that I think about it, this game's pretty bad. I guess I'd put it above Karate Kid. Yeah, that sounds about right. I might move these two up to mediocre. I don't know. Um, Next up, Super Pitfall. This game I didn't really play much, but I went back to it. It's pretty bad. The main problem is just too hard. Like you die in one hit, and it's like really annoying. The level design's pretty odd, but I guess if you just want like a hard adventure game, it's not the worst thing ever. I mean, it does what it wants you to do, but it's just not a very fun concept. Walking around this random ladder, fucking hellhole, getting killed one hit. So I don't know if I could put it in quite dog shit, but it's pretty bad. And now that I think about it, these two games they're not quite as bad. Like they're LGN's just good at making competently bad games. Sometimes they'll make an absolute dog shit, but usually they'll just make pretty lazy but okay, competent enough games. Because these games work fine. They have a good graphics, they have okay music, but they're not like something that's like inherently like the worst thing ever. Yeah, that feels better. Dick Tracy's almost on the line. They could have honestly made this into a good detective game. All right, Action 52. Yes, 52 shitty games, and I guess you could say like, oh, does that make it worse? But I mean, there is some meme material to it, and at least I was gonna say there's some good games, but I'm not gonna lie, almost every single one is garbage. Cheetah Men, the originals, I guess one of the better ones. There was an okay space shooter near the end, if I remember correctly, and maybe one of those. Oh, this game is pretty bad. I don't know if I could call it the worst game ever, because at least there's like some content here. I mean, if you were really bored as a kid, I guess you could find something fun out of one of the 52 games. But it's bad. And I guess also for the price it released for, but I don't think anyone ever paid that much money because by the time this game came out, it probably had huge price cuts. So this game might be on like the freaking bottom end here. I have to think about it. Little Red Hood, whew, this game's bad. Never technically released in North America. I believe the ROM I was playing was Australia, and it's another unlicensed game. Without reading the manual or knowing what the hell you're doing, this game's really weird. Even when you do what you're doing, it doesn't make any sense. You just kind of jump around on trees and then you randomly find gold underground. But it's like the same level routine. This is a really, really bad game. Oh boy, this game's bad. I'd probably put it. It might be in the worst games ever. Like it's pretty bad. Oh boy, this game's bad. Um, Then you got Color a Dinosaur. I think I said it in my stream, and I don't think there's any way to deny it. I tried playing this game. I even read the manual. It's like, oh, you can do like free coloring. I can't figure out how to do anything but fill it in, and it's somehow worse than you could possibly imagine. I honestly think LGN video art might be better than this. I don't know what AVGM was saying because I mean, at least in that game you can like draw. You can't draw in this. You can just fill in, and it's so slow, and it's just like you can't save anything. Like literally, Microsoft Paint is better than this. And yeah, you're like, oh, well, Microsoft Paint, was it that good back then? Well, this came out in, I think, like 93, which is pretty late. Microsoft Paint most definitely existed, I believe, around this time and would have been better. And hell, if it didn't exist, there was probably a Windows program or something on the Mac. Actually, I know for a fact that Apple Macs had like coloring shit before this. This game is easily the worst NES game. I don't see how anything could beat it. Dragon Slayer is also a horrible game. Um, the arcade is like you could say, well, the arcade game's bad too, I guess, but not really. It's more of just like you just have to know which direction to press, and you get to watch like the cool animation. So that's kind of cool. That's more about memorizing. This game isn't even about memorizing because even if you know what to do, it still doesn't work. You can't get past anything. Like I've even watched videos on how to do it. It's just so specific, and it's just ass. Like they made it so fucking hard that you can't even do anything. It's not like a fun hard. It's absolute dog shit. So a game that you can't even get past the first screen, that's pretty bad. I mean, I guess I'll put it above Where's Waldo, but my god, this game is pointless. Winter games, I'm gonna put in seems to be okay. Like, yes, some of the mini games are kind of button mashers, but it just feels like a typical like old school sports game. As long as you read the manual, you kind of understand some of it better. And I will say most of the mini games are okay for what they're worth. They're not that interesting, but they work okay. The only one that I find absolutely like shit is probably the bobsledding one. It's just like, what the hell am I looking at? The Winter Games isn't that bad. I wouldn't put it in good though. Um, Next up, the Back to the Future games. I'm surprised. The first Back to the Future game, while it doesn't make any sense for a Back to the Future like tie-in, like why are you running down the street? I didn't actually mind the gameplay. It was pretty okay. And the milkshake shit was a little bit too specific, but it was kind of annoying. I might put it in mediocre, but I don't know. These games seem a little bit worse, and plus this is worse tier list. These aren't games like my uh level of quality isn't that good. Like if we had like a good game like Punch Out, it'd probably be like 3 or 4 tiers above here. Even games I don't even like Tetris would probably be like above this, and I'm not even that big of a Tetris guy. The second, third one, the main problem is just that you don't know what the hell you're doing, but other than that, it's okay. So I think I might put this one in mediocre, probably right below Dick Tracy. Maybe if I knew how to play this one, it might be better, but it's just so confusing and just not that interesting. It has some weird shit like the password system that's weird. Um, Now that I'm thinking about it, I think Action 52 might have to go in worst games ever. Why did I say it like that? I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, okay. I think I've got it figured out. I think this, because the more I think about it, like Action 52, like yeah, I have fun, like memeing on it, but like literally, you have 52 minigames and they all suck practically. It's just like, what the hell? And Little Red Hood, oh man, this game's bad. I'm like on the fence. Like it could be dog shit if they just finished it. I don't know if I could call it worst game ever. It just feels like, I mean, it technically wasn't even released in North America and it's unlicensed. And I guess if you enjoy just like randomly like looking for gold and shooting slingshots, it's bad. And like I'm like thinking it's basically in the same level of Dr. Doom with Star Hide. It's just so bad. But yeah, this is my final tier list. A couple games could move down here. Like Pitfall might be dog shit. I don't know. Um, Actually, I might put Winter Games there. Don't get too like specific about like, oh, is it placed above or not? But that's, I guess, a good enough. The only thing I'm certain about is Color Dinosaur is bottom tier, is the worst game on the NES. But thank you for watching. Let me know if there's ever NES games you want me to play that you consider the worst NES games ever. Is Fester's Quest one of them? I don't know. Um, I'll probably be doing another live stream soon about other worst video games of all time. But that would be a different console. These four guys will be moving on to the next round. I think I might be doing Atari next. Thank you for watching, everyone. Have a good day.